One of Tasmania's worst bushfires in recent times, Andrew.
Yep, 17 homes destroyed, almost 30,000 hectares burnt out. It really is a wonder anything at all could survive such a ferocious blaze. But look closely and you might be surprised. All right, now, Dr. Marie, you're a conservation planner with Forestry Tas, and you're hacking away at a dead log.
Yep.
This is how we find the mighty, the beautiful velvet worm.
That's right, the giant velvet worm.
The giant velvet worm.
Yep.
Which are how big? Right, excellent.
I don't know if they live in this log, so this is what we're doing. We're trying to find them by looking inside the rotting log.
So you've hacked a whole piece of it away.
Yep.
This area was burnt to a crisp, really, wasn't it?
And have a look around. It was pretty hot.
So why are we looking for velvet worms here where there's been a fire?
I suppose it's understanding this species better, knowing what it can survive, what it can't survive, what its habitat is.
Do you think we'll find any?
Yeah, I reckon we will. I think it's just a matter of looking, and there's a few other rotten logs that we can have a look around as well.
Looking and hacking, let's get hacking.
Okay.
Listed as rare and confined to a range of about 600 square kilometres in the state's northeast, the giant velvet worm needs dead and rotting wood to survive.
They're also the sort of worm equivalent to the missing link. While you're foraging away, Marie, can you just take us through why are you so intrigued by velvet worms? Why are they so special?
They're pretty amazing creatures if you've ever seen one. They're an invertebrate that predates insects, and they're considered the living fossils. The link between things that are worms and things that are invertebrates with legs. So they have characteristics of both. So they're worm-like, but they've also got little stumpy legs too.
You've got a scorpion here.
Ooh, a scorpion. This is exciting. That's better than a velvet worm. Look at that. This is Dr. Simon Grove. Now, Simon, it's not just velvet worms that you find while you're mucking around here in the dead wood, is it? There's plenty of stuff.
It's amazing what you find here, actually. I know more about the beetles than anything, and just at one spot where we've done a lot of research, we found about 500 different species living in the dead wood.
And this northeast corner of Tasmania, I guess, is interesting not only for the velvet worm, but also the stag beetle, which is a pretty well known but also quite rare beastie.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stag beetles. Tasmania is a bit of a hot spot for them, but in this corner there are 3 species that don't have any close relatives anywhere else in the world, and they've all got very, very small ranges, so, you know, in order of tens of square kilometres for one of them.
Oh, look, I've got one.
That's it.
That's it.
I mean, that's it. Look, gee, it's big. Now, that is it. That is what we've been fossicking through these dead logs for.
Yeah.
And that is the only, this is the only place in the world that this animal exists.
Pretty much, in this northeast corner.
How many of them are there?
They estimate about 1.4 million individuals. So,
right. There wouldn't seem to be 1.4 million here.
No.
The velvet worm is just one piece in a massive ecological jigsaw, and in a bid to better manage state forests, Forestry Tasmania has spent the past 35 years collecting, cataloguing and studying the menagerie of weird and wonderful bugs that live in the Tasmanian bush.
Righto, this is it. This is the Tasmanian Forest Insect Collection, and it's one of the biggest bug collections in the world. Well, this isn't all of it. It's sort of all through this room, Nick.
It is the largest...
500,000.
The largest collection of Tasmanian forest bugs, if you like. And bugs, Andrew, are a fabulous barometer.
Aren't they? And they fascinate.
Into the health of the forest.
Yes.
If you understand the bugs, you understand the forest.
Thousands of hours have gone into creating the Forest Insect Collection. Everything that crawls, flies, buzzes and bites is here. The question is why?
It serves a whole range of purposes, and it's it characterises the natural history of a lot of the insects in Tasmania, the pests and their natural enemies that we've looked at, but it also is our main working collection for looking at the biodiversity that lives in the forest, and part of our role here is to try and understand how our forest management affects that biodiversity, and to do our management in a way that is good for maintaining that biodiversity in the landscape.
The research shows that insects living within a particular forest change as the forest grows older.
One of the resulting management strategies is to ensure we have young, middle age and old forest to provide the required habitat.
The other thing it shows is the importance of dead wood in the forest and also for forest harvesting.
You see an area harvested, you still see a mess, and we're trying to promote the idea that messy forests are healthy forests, because that mess you see on the ground after a harvesting operation is actually an incredibly important habitat for a whole range of species that live in those logs.
Now, to build the world's biggest collection of Tasmanian forest insects, you need lots of people like Georgie. Georgie's an entomologist just going through the bugs. How are they, Georgie?
Good. It's going well. Very time consuming because there's lots of beetles and they're very small.
Small, painstaking work. There are 13,000 of these samples to go through.
Forestry Tasmania spends $3 million a year on research, much of it on understanding ecosystems. FT's been cataloguing the state's insect population since the 1960s, and there are only 1.4 million giant velvet worms on Earth, and they all live in northeast Tasmania.